Well, hey there, Heike Yates here, and welcome back to another episode of the Pursue Your Spark podcast. I have a very special episode for you today before the podcast goes on summer vacation for the month of August. We will be back September 4th, but before we take a break, we'll talk about the impact of COVID. Let's not kid ourselves. Times are tough. And COVID-19 has changed everything that we took for granted. Not only is our health affected, but also our livelihoods and family dynamics. Trying to define what's next and where to go from here can be daunting and right down impossible just to imagine. I'm sure, like I have, you wondered what the neighbors across the street is doing now that the kids are being homeschooled. Or what is happening to your favorite restaurant. Is it going to make it or not? Maybe you're thinking about getting another job, but is this the time to look? So I asked some of my previous guests on the show to share how COVID-19 has impacted their business, what actions they have taken to overcome that impact, or how their business has grown because of it. And I asked them to share one tip of encouragement for you that they can give you to move forward and be inspired. You will hear from Strom, Cassie Christopher, Phyllis Mantelli, Sydney Larson, Natsuyo Lipschutz, Helene Dumais, Diane Gaia, Lorraine C. Ladish, Sue B. Zimmerman, Joan Bragar, Lisa Pezik, Cherrie Morris, myself, and then my special guest on this episode, Anne. And I'll see you in a minute. Hi there, you're listening to the Pursue Your Spark podcast. I'm your host and fitness warrior, Heike Yates. And on this show, we empower women over 50 to take back their health and strength with sound fitness, nutrition, and mindset strategies. Our guests on the show share their honest stories so that you'll have the courage to take action, knowing that you're not alone in your struggles. Today's episode is titled How They Built Resilience, and for good reason. We're going through really tough times and we need a tough skin as well. Resilience helps us when we feel overwhelmed, when it's difficult or stressful periods in our lives. And the stories that I'm sharing with you today showcase or show you strategies how to accept that change is part of living and that we can move forward towards our goals, and that it is really important to take decisive actions, and also looking for opportunities of self-discovery by perhaps changing how you're doing things going forward. And resilience also helps us nurture a positive view not just of ourselves, but also maintaining a hopeful outlook of what the future can bring. I wanted to mention here that we have a special guest on this episode. When she heard about this episode, how to build resilience, she thought it was a brilliant idea, and I invited her to the podcast, and she had said, I'd never been on a podcast. I have been a speaker around the world. And based on your criteria, I don't think I fit in with the group of women you have interviewed. And I said, you are the perfect fit, Anne. So Anne was willing to record her segment of how she built resilience in her life, and you'll hear about her story today. Without further ado, here are my guests.
My name is Strom. I'm a life coach, career coach, and professional resume writer. Right now, my business has been impacted very slightly. I have been working from home since 2011, So I don't have to commute anywhere. I didn't have to worry about a lease or rent of office space anywhere. So we're doing okay. I do notice that a lot of people right now aren't looking for life coaching as much as they were before, and perhaps that was due to income that they could spend on life coaching. I would have expected that during this tumultuous time, a lot of people would need more life coaching than anything, but I'm finding that people are pivoting towards changing their career now more than anything. So I help women dive in and see what they're really looking for in life, what's important to them, what's not important to them, what they do want to do, what they'd never want to do again, the location to their home, things like these that are very important to different people. We dive in, we look at what's available, and then we work from there. Another thing I've noticed that a lot of people are really diving into their resume, which is very important. It's an important tool to find the next thing that you want to do. And so we really heavily put our attention into that. And that's what I've been doing most of this COVID time versus any sort of coaching. For people who are looking for tips on how to better their resume, I'm here to help. You can find me at lizstrom.com. That's LIZSTROM.com, or you can email me and we can have a quick conversation. I'm not a salesperson. I am somebody that genuinely likes to help others. So I think people are drawn to me for that. But the biggest piece of advice that I could offer right now for resume writing is to make sure that you keep things clean, concise, and relevant to the position you are applying for. So make sure that you're not worried about any fancy fonts or colors. I'd actually stray away from that in most cases. Make sure your name, your city and state or country where you're from is on there, as well as your telephone number and your email at the very least. You can also include things like your LinkedIn link. And keep it very clean and concise. Make sure that all the information you actually include is relevant to the position you are applying for. No longer do you build a resume and just blow it out there and blast it out there. These are the times where your resume is going to be met mostly by computer systems, ATS, which means applicant tracking systems. So make sure that your experience and everything is really related to the job position you're going to be applying for so that it makes it through the ATS and into human hands so somebody can call you back for an interview. I hope you all stay very safe and healthy during this time. Sending a lot of love. And if you need me, you know where to find me at lizstrom.com. Also, email is liz@lizstrom.com.
Hi, I'm Cassie Christopher, registered dietitian and founder of the Stress Less Weight Loss Mastery, a lifestyle and mindset formula for women in their 40s through 60s to balance stress hormones, make peace with emotional eating, and shed unwanted weight for good. I joined Heike to talk about emotional eating in the very early days of COVID. At that time, I was seriously considering joining a business development coaching program and was about to make the investment. But due to fear and uncertainty of how COVID would impact the economy, I paused the program and thought about it more. I eventually realized whether COVID tanked the economy or not, I still wanted to help women overcome the biological and mindset issues that keep them stuck in a cycle of losing weight and then emotionally eating the weight back on. Personally, I was unhappy with the status quo in my life and took the leap of faith at a very uncertain time in world history to empower both myself and other women. I've been receiving business coaching now for about 2.5 months, and in that time have developed my 12-week program that helps women get to the root of their belly fat, weight gain, and emotional eating, which is the stress hormone, cortisol. The program also works heavily on improving mindset and self-compassion because sometimes our thoughts are the root of self-sabotage. Choosing to join an intensive coaching program during such a crazy time ended up giving me something concrete to focus on and allowed me to reach goals that I wouldn't have otherwise. I created an entire program using the latest scientific evidence and my years of experience helping women lose weight. I am learning how to market and sell in a way that lines up with my values so I can get my program into the hands of people who need it. It's honestly been a godsend. This experience, while being mentally taxing and emotionally exhausting at times, has restored my passion for coaching. I have experienced firsthand how having a step-by-step plan and someone to hold my hand and lead me when I doubt myself or when change gets hard leads to better results than I could frankly ever get on my own. Which leads me to my encouragement for listeners. If you're struggling to reach your goal, whatever it may be, then just get help. You don't have to do it alone. Just because the world has been turned upside down doesn't mean you can't get the results you want. It just means you may need a little more support. And if you would like support with emotional eating, you can download my 11 tips to help stop stress eating so you can fit into your favorite jeans at cassiechristopher.net/free.
Hi, Heike. It's Phyllis Mantelli. And the last time I was on your show, I was talking to you about the mother-daughter dysfunction and writing my first book called Unmothered: Life with a Mom Who Couldn't Love Me. And one of the things that impacted my business during COVID is this was the year that I was going to go out and do book signings, and I was traveling a lot for speaking engagements and selling the book and talking about all the things of how this book could help other mothers and daughters and really get them to a place of healing. And COVID just one by one, all of those engagements just shut down, and we were stuck with many books in my closet right now, and just a lot of questions as to when things were going to get back to normal, which I don't think they will. I think we're going to have to recreate. And some of the things that I've learned during this time is that even though you have a plan, for me, I'm spiritual, so I feel like God sets other plans in motion. And one of those things that happened was, this is something I call a coincidence, is around October, I started taking a course to get certified as a life coach. And I thought it would be a great addition to what I was doing. But what I didn't realize is that it was going to be a pivotal moment in my life and really become the main thing. So I am about a month away from getting certified, and I have started to coach some people through some things, and that business is really taking off, even by word of mouth. I haven't really had to advertise it too much. People are reaching out. People are in need right now for some positive things. And my life coaching course is really about the mother-daughter dysfunction, but it can also be for people who are in need of just a change. And then I also do a course called Memorable Memoirs, 4-week writing course. And so if somebody is interested in writing their story and finding out about memoir and how to pitch to a publisher or an agent, I have a 4-week course that I just finished on that, and I've walked a couple people through that already. So that has just been very encouraging, and I think just to give tips to your audience, when you feel like you're stuck in some crazy, empty hole right now with the way things are going, I would say to you, really search your heart and see if there's something more that you can do and shift to. And there's probably a couple different layers in the things that you do. Even if you work in a traditional job, I would say you have special skills and gifting. So really learn what those things are. I think this is a time of awakening to see what people are really gifted in and the things that we can help other people through. So I hope that helps. I'm so glad that you did this, and look forward to talking to you soon, Heike. Thank you.
Hey there, this is Sydney Larson. I am a founder of Lilybird, which is a subscription company that focuses on women in midlife and beyond. We sell products that are just a little bit embarrassing to purchase in the store. For example, we are primarily focused on products for bladder leaks, which is something that although it's very common for women of most ages, actually, it's not something that really any of us want to talk about. And we also recently added a flushable feminine cleansing cloth product to our mix. I think like everybody else, we have experienced a lot of different COVID impacts to the business. I know I have not spent nearly as much time the last couple of months moving the business forward as I would have liked. There's been a lot more being in defense mode and problem solving the issues that have come up. One of the biggest ones that we've seen is with our shipping times. So the shipping carriers that we use, which are UPS and USPS, we've seen just a lot of pretty significant slowdowns in getting packages to customers in a timely fashion. And for a company that is very focused on having a really fantastic customer experience, that's been really challenging for us. So even though we don't have control over exactly when a shipment arrives, we've done a few things to try to improve things. One thing we did is that we extended the trial period that a customer has to try their trial package, so that if the package is a little bit slow to get there, it doesn't end up, they don't end up too crunched for time. We also have invested in a very useful but also somewhat expensive tool to better monitor all of our shipments, so that we can much more easily get alerts and see what's going on with all of the shipments that we have out to customers. And that's allowed us to just give customers a lot more communication on what's going on, and also just monitor things ourselves. Another big impact that we've had is with some product launches that we had planned. So we had a product that we were really excited to be launching at the end of the summer here, and some of the raw materials in those products are also raw materials in personal protective equipment. And so those materials right now are being used rightly for personal protective equipment. And so there's unfortunately not a lot that we can do about that other than wait. And hopefully pretty soon here we'll be able to get a timeline for launching those products again. Even for the cleansing cloth product that we did launch, one of the package types that we're offering, we also have plans to offer an individually wrapped version of that product. And it was supposed to launch at the same time initially. But we've had a lot of delays there also as a result of COVID. Most notably, there was a big outbreak at the manufacturing plant that was producing them, and so everything, of course, needed to be shut down and sanitized, and making sure that all of those individuals were safe and healthy again before continuing. And I think the other big thing too is I miss seeing all of the team in person. We are all working remotely as much as possible, and we already had multiple locations, and so for us it probably isn't as big of a change as it is for some companies, but it's still been really hard to not be able to see each other in person. And so one of the things that we do is that we all sit on a Google Hangout, which is like Zoom. We just sit there all day and we can see each other's faces and talk to each other. And that's really helped to, not feel like we're all, sort of by ourselves and lonely. If I had just one tip to share around this, around COVID and this weird time that we're living through, it would just be to try to be patient with each other as much as possible, whether that's with a spouse who's now an office mate or family members who are either more or less cautious than you think they should be, or even with a business that you're interacting with where maybe things aren't going as smoothly as you would want or as they used to. We're all just getting a crash course in extreme flexibility right now, and I think the more that we can be patient with each other and just try to recognize that we're all doing our best, I think the better off we'll be.
Hi, I'm Natsuyo Lipschutz. I'm an international keynote speaker, a strategy consultant, and a public speaking coach. And I help global leaders to communicate effectively beyond differences and find your own voice. During this pandemic, I went through a lot of ups and downs. Well, mainly downs. I live in New York City, and my apartment building is right in front of a hospital. So the first several weeks were really, really difficult. I saw ambulances going in and out of the hospital all day long, and sirens were going off all night. So it was really, really difficult. I'm a small business owner and a mother of an 80-year-old daughter. And luckily, my business wasn't as affected as many other people. Sure, I couldn't go to my office, and sure, all of my events were either canceled or turned to virtual events. But I was able to still reach out to people and offered my services through online programs. And my strategy work was done virtually as well. My husband is a dentist. He has his own dental practice. So he could not do any of his work at home. So all of a sudden, he's home all day, every day, not knowing what to do, just hanging around, while I was literally running around in my apartment trying to get everything done, from helping my daughter to do remote learning program to making sure that she's on schedule and cooking 3 meals a day and trying to get some workout and of course working in between. And I broke down. I mean, it was more than a nervous breakdown. I went through a depression. I have been depressed many times, like probably most of us, right? But depression was something totally different. I've never experienced something like that before. I could not speak, I could not smile, and I could not even look at my family's faces. It was really difficult. And what helped me was speaking. As a professional speaker, I had many speaking events, and I had to rehearse. Even though it was so difficult for me to even say one word, I forced myself to rehearse every single night. And it took me minimum 30 minutes to say the first word in my script. But still, I rehearsed every day, and I got my voice out. And I realized that speaking was healing for me. When you let your voice out, you're gathering your own energy. Maybe you feel that you're completely depleted, but somehow when you speak, you gather your energy from somewhere. So there's definitely some positive energy sleeping inside of you. You just forgot that it was there. So from speaking or even rehearsing, I was able to gather my only a little bit of energy But by doing so every day, I got better and better and better, step by step by step. And also, speaking to my friends helped me. A certain kinds of friends. When I say a certain kinds of friends, I'm not talking about, friends whom you don't feel comfortable with, but all those friends were really good friends for me. However, certain friends just listened, and another kind of friends offered me advice. And when you are depressed, you can't really listen to other people's opinions and even advice out of their sincere care for you. Thinking back, I feel terrible for those people who offered me positive advice, but at that time, I just could not accept any advice. I just wanted to be heard. So those friends who helped me just listened without any judgment and without any suggestions or advice. They just listened. And that helped me so much. And after a few more ups and downs, I'm now probably 90% recovered. Still going through ups and downs. But if someone, if a friend of mine reaches out to me, I'm prepared to listen. So if you are going through a tough time, reach out to people. Reach out to your friends who will listen to you. And if you know someone who is going through some tough time, just listen. And listening really heals them. And speaking heals you.
To all of you beautiful listeners of the podcast Pursue Your Spark. So my name is Helene Dumais. You can just call me Helene. I am a French-Canadian adventurer, a running coach, personal trainer, and speaker. So I wear many hats, but they all revolve around adventure, health, and fitness. And as an athlete and as an entrepreneur, I like to think that I can be a role model for some women. So I get to inspire women, motivate them, teach them, and accompany them in their own fitness journey or towards reaching goals and pursue dreams that are bigger than what they think is possible. So that's kind of my mission. Now, the pandemic of the COVID-19 has impacted everyone, everywhere at different levels. Of course, on my end, half of my work is made of interaction with people. As a coach, as a speaker, and as an athlete, I'm usually out there with people. So all of these were put on hold. The gym was closed. I couldn't coach there. No speaking engagement in person. And races, most of them were either postponed or canceled. So it gave me a lot of time and energy that I was able to redirect to, first, I was still able, the one thing I was able to do to pursue is my online coaching. So this stayed on, and I was able to put more attention, and so that was great for that. But the positive impact of that was that I saw the opportunity to devote all the work that was needed to complete a project of a documentary film that I produced that is called Facing Infinitus, that is about a 888 kilometer race that I took part in. And so I was able also to launch it in May 2020, which was very exciting. Now, how can we overcome the impact of such a unique crisis we are into right now? Well, first, I like to see the opportunity in every obstacle we can face, whether in life in general, in business, with our health, or in our relationships. So what I did is I quickly followed the approach that I call adapt or die, right? We were used to, let's say, put a square in a square, and now we're used to work with our square, and suddenly we have a circle, and our square doesn't fit in the circle. So trying to make it fit won't work. So not knowing when it's going to change, if, how, what's going to happen by when, it is better to adapt quickly, as this would be our new reality, and that there would not be any going back, right? We don't know. So not knowing, better to just adapt to that new reality quickly. And so how I was able on my end to adapt my life as an athlete and as a businesswoman. Well, first, I think like anybody has probably done consciously or unconsciously, is to reassess our priorities. So this is what I did. What really matters to me? So it's kind of a cleansing, a refocusing, what's important. And so I did that with everything in general. It actually brought a change, or a change of direction I wanted to do. So I brought it sooner, which was, so I've done a lot of competition as an athlete, and I was slowly getting into the idea to redirect myself to do more running expeditions. So less of just competing in races, but doing more my own adventure, my own running expedition with an environmental or humanitarian aspect of it. So it kind of brought faster this project that I'm working on right now. I refocused on everything I could create online. I already had my coaching, online coaching. So I'm now working on having seminar accessible online. And also, I have the project to write a book. So it kind of brought forward this idea that this is a good time to start working on it. I also brainstorm on new business project, always related to fitness and adventure, but that could thrive whether there is a pandemic or not in the future. As well, I did take action in my relationship, again, to kind of reassess who's important in my life. So I focus on nourishing these relationships that matter the most to me. And of course, in this confinement, lots of love have been shared, but through Zoom conversation. So all of this, it's all work in progress, but it is very fulfilling to feel that we're moving forward with projects that are close to our heart, that are aligned with our true values and interests. So now all what you can see, the public outside, what you can see that has been fulfilling and completed is the film Facing Infinitus. The rest, it's all work in progress, but it's moving forward. So it's really fulfilling to work on aspect of my career, aspect of my person, that will make it better, more rich in the future. Lastly, some tips of encouragement. Well, I invite you to follow these guidelines I went through. So first, adopt the mentality or the approach of adapt or die, really, because you don't know what the future will be. So adapt to this new reality, be creative, and of course, see the opportunity. I know it's so easy to look at the dark side of what's going on. Of course, there's a lot of sadness, many not fun thing going on because of the pandemic, but this is happening. There's nothing we can do about it, right? So focus on what's newly available. What are the opportunities that can rise up from this crisis that we're going through together? So remember the together here, because so this can be the perfect time to make those changes you were thinking about. Maybe were not sure to you didn't have the courage of the guts to make it happen. Well, right now, maybe some of you, it's really rough, and basically we have nothing to lose anyway, so just go for it. Take that risk. Try this new project. And reach out. Don't do anything alone. So share. Don't play solo. Share your struggle and share your ideas as much as possible, so that you never know who can help you, who has the exact key you actually need to unlock the next stage for you. This said, I'm always available if you want to reach me to talk about these, because I love helping people. So thank you.
Hello, so my name is Diane Gaia, and I am the CEO and sole owner of Gaia Fit LLC, and I am a holistic fitness coach. So I deal with mind, body, and spirit, a stress reduction expert. I'm an Amazon best-selling author and speaker, and for 30 years I have really been interested in mind-body medicine and holistic fitness, and I help people really learn how to be more adaptable and more resilient, learning how to respond to situations versus to react. And I help people develop really a full program with physical fitness, stress reduction techniques, and practices that they can use to bring more joy into their life and less stress. And my tagline is more joy, less stress, for the health of it, because stress really does have so many negative impacts on our health. And at this point in time with COVID, it's more important than ever that we maintain our health and keep our immune systems as strong as we possibly can. So I feel like my services are more in need than ever before. I really specialize in working with midlifers, both men and women, 55 to 105. That's how I define it. Age really doesn't matter. It's more of your level of biological and functional fitness that is more important rather than your chronological age. So I help people age optimally and maintain as much freedom in their life as possible, and freedom and fitness go together, because the more fit you are, the more able you are to do things for yourself, the more choices you have as far as life activities goes. So that's what I do. And my business, really how it was impacted by COVID, it just forced me to take everything that I was doing offline, going to people's homes, teaching in yoga studios, doing massage therapy at spas and chiropractors' offices. And I took it and did as much as I could online as quickly as possible. So I transitioned all of my personal training clients to working with me via Zoom. I got them set up with equipment and training. It took a little bit of time and effort on both of our parts, but in a month or so, I had all of them up to speed. So we didn't really lose too much time with their fitness programs and keeping them healthy. And my yoga classes as well, I transitioned those all to virtual classes via Zoom. And I actually was able to increase my yoga business substantially. And I'm working with people now from all over the country, which is really cool, and all from the comfort of my home. So my business actually has been kind of positively impacted by COVID-19 in that it has forced me to take things online and do everything virtual, which had been my plan, but it just speeded things up. And the biggest obstacles that I've had to overcome have been technical challenges, technical difficulties, learning how to use all the technology, learning how to do like Facebook Lives and Instagram Lives and broadcast on multiple platforms at the same time. And I've really wanted to develop more online income streams. So I've taken a course with Brendan Bouchard on creating webinars and memberships and online classes, all of which I wanted to do. So I'm learning how to do that, and I'll be transitioning to Kajabi soon, which is a platform that integrates everything. So I would encourage everyone out there to use this as an opportunity, this time of the great pause, to really go inward and see if you can figure out how you can maybe be a little more adaptable and see the possibilities out of this situation rather than all of the problems. And maybe you can restructure your life in a way that you can be, doing online learning, you can be meeting new people virtually. There are so many things now being offered, and there's so much that is accessible if you have a computer and Wi-Fi from the comfort of your home. And so, again, I would just suggest seeing the positivity and the possibilities in this situation. And if I can be of any help, I would love to work with you. I have a free newsletter that comes out every week, the Weekly Wave, with just stress reduction tips. I'd be happy to include you. I just need your email. Be well.
I'm Lorraine Ladish, and I am the co-founder of Viva 50 Media, which includes the websites viva50.com, lorraineCladish.com, and theflawedyogini.com. It is all about enjoying your best age, overcoming difficulties, and living your best life, no matter what challenges life has thrown your way. So my business has not been negatively affected by COVID. Quite the contrary. I am having my best year yet. And I am positioned to, finish the year in a really good way. Of course, I did not know this when COVID started. Some partnerships were put on hold. And shortly after, we just started getting different kinds of partnerships in the wellness, mental health, and health industries, because we were already sharing about that before we even knew that COVID was going to happen. Now, for those going through a tough time now, I can share that I did lose it all as a journalist and a writer in 2008 when there was the Great Recession. And what I learned back then is that I had to pivot. I started looking for work in, just regular jobs. And I then realized that what I really had to do was take my business online. And so in the past 12 years, I have worked really hard to, to make that living, to share my knowledge and experience, basically, not so much knowledge, but experience and hope online. So it's been many years of working online really hard, so that when COVID hit, it turned out that I was already online when many people were scrambling to figure out how they could take their skills online and continue to make a difference. I was already there. I also had learned from the 2008 recession that I should not be racking up debt or continuing to manage my business in a way that was possibly conducive to some kind of financial disaster. So immediately I cut back on expenses. I put a hold on collaborations with freelancers. But it turns out that I didn't really have to, but of course I didn't know it at the moment. So I pulled out all the stops of self-care, and as I said, I cut back on expenses and reorganized my business, only to find out a few months afterwards that, I didn't really have to, as I said. But my tip for anybody going through a bad time now is, quite honestly, to take yourself online and figure out, Google, who is thriving online, follow them, and figure out what your next steps need to be to thrive in any time, because this pandemic isn't going away anytime soon. So what we really need to do is adapt to it. Sometimes I felt this year that I was lucky, but then people who know me remind me that I've built my own luck. And I certainly didn't see the pandemic coming. I didn't see, like any of us, or the what's going on in the world. But once again, I was positioned in a way that I could not only deal with it, but continue to be paid for that which I love to do most, which is inspire others to realize that even if you were a single mom on welfare, as I was in 2008, you can become a woman who makes more than six figures, even during a pandemic.
Hi, I'm Subi Zimmerman, and I help women step into their true, authentic self by sharing who they are, what they do with confidence, teaching Instagram marketing. And so many women struggle with putting themselves online in fear of how they're going to be judged. So I help them overcome that by letting them know it's more important about their gifts that they give to the world than anything else. My business has been affected in a positive way during this pandemic because so many more people need to understand the strategies around putting themselves, their business, their product or service online, specifically using Instagram, because Instagram is such a fun, easy platform and place where you can be up and running as a business. Essentially, it is a website in and of itself because there is SEO and ways for you to attract your ideal customer and client. So our business has exploded over these past 3 months due to the fact that people really need to understand how to take their business online now more than ever, especially if they had a physical location. And in terms of what we've done to lean into this growth is hired more team members that are supporting us to help other women make more of an impact doing what they love. And so we make sure that everyone on my team, now of 12, really plays to their strengths and serves our community and our clients, our Ready, Set, Graham community members, which are our VIP community members. And we love it. We love showing up and serving and building such an amazing community with like-minded business owners, specifically women who really want to just, like I said, lean into who they are and what they do. These are women who have the experience, the wisdom, the passion, and the conviction to make a difference with integrity. And we just love all the lady bosses that we attract. My biggest tip to encourage others is to really, truly stop and think about who you are and what matters most and how you can make that impact. And if you're not jiving with someone else or someone's judging you because of that, you just need to overcome it with confidence and do you and be you and have the true 100% authentic, being authentic of what you love and sharing that. I think a lot of women struggle with sharing that because they feel like they're just being judged by too many people, and you just have to shut down that and you have to lean into who you really are, all the quirky aspects of your personality. We like to refer to this as our content buckets or our visual buckets in our Ready, Set, Graham course, and these are your core values. These are your interests, the things that make you you, because at the end of the day, there is only one you and nobody can compete with you. Come on over to @the Instagram expert. Say hello to Subi. I'd love to connect with you, especially if you're listening to this, and see how I can help you further with your journey, specifically using Instagram.
Hi, my name's Joan Bragar. I'm a coach and a consultant, and I help women who are in the second half of life who want to find healthy, happy love. And specifically, I help them learn how to date online and how to overcome any patterns in the past that are preventing them from having the love of their life. I'm talking today about what has been the impact on my coaching business of the COVID pandemic. And I have to say, I've had a very big impact on my business in strange and unusual ways. People being quarantined in their home for several months had a large impact on their commitment either to the relationship they're in or to a relationship they hope to be in two ways. I am a calling in the one coach, so I help people to find love. And many people living alone for months at a time learned ever more deeply that they want to have love in their life and that it's important. But the other interesting thing is people quarantined for many months with a partner that they weren't getting along with also chose to end marriages in this period in record numbers, actually, not only in this country but around the world. So in my work as a conscious uncoupling coach, the work expanded. People have been reaching out to me. I've had the opposite of many people. I haven't had a decline in my business through this period. The one supportive advice I can give to people is always to find out what is the need, what is the most severe and pressing current need that people have, and address that. And I feel that I've been fortunate in that relationships is a need in every period, both in a quarantine and not a quarantine. People need relationships to stay happy and healthy, and it increases the value of their lives when they have relationships. So that's what I've learned in the COVID epidemic, and I'm wishing everybody all of the best.
Hi there, I'm Lisa Pezik. I'm a business strategist, asset builder, and attention coach, meaning I want people to see you, to help you be visible, to have people stay with you, stay connected to you, build solid relationships, and get excited about the next offer that you put out. It's about building what I like to call that lifetime value of a customer. And that goes back to creating incredible content and delivering it in the most authentic way. Now, COVID, when it hit for the business that my husband Eric and I run, we're primarily online coaches. We build courses and memberships, and we coach already online with Zoom. But we have a 6-year-old. So it's kind of like take your kid to work day every single day. So the biggest challenge that we had to overcome was priorities. What is priority trying to juggle all of the homeschooling and online martial arts and our client work, our relationship, our own personal self-care, alone time, or time where we can recharge. As Eric and I would laugh that we love parenting together and playing together and working together, but this really took it to a whole new level, being together, the three of us, myself, Eric, and Oliver, our 6-year-old, 24/7. I was originally on Heike's show talking about the beauty of authenticity. And that is the word that came up for us in this time. Really being authentic in the way we communicate with each other, the way we communicate to our clients, and not trying to pretend that something isn't the way it is. If we're having a crazy day, we communicated that to each other. We communicated that to our clients and kept an open book with conversations. Now, the actions that I've taken to overcome this is being more visible. So in a time when it's easy to say, my plate is already full, I can't take on anything new, I actually did the opposite. I got together with my peers and we started doing free online interview series and free online teaching. I started going live even more on Facebook and Instagram, my podcast, being really particular about the guests that I have on and showing my face more. It's all about being visible so people can connect to you and they can see you and they know that they're not alone. the tip of encouragement that I want to give you in this time, as you're being visible, as you're communicating, as you're being authentic, as you are maybe pivoting or transitioning and doing things different in your business and your life, don't forget about your self-care. That is always the first thing to go whenever life gets crazy. Don't forget about whatever fills your cup up, whether it's exercise, meditating, journaling, painting. Have your fingers touch something that is not a keyboard or a keypad. Let those creative juices flow, even in the time when you think that you don't have it and you think that you can't. It's that release, it's that self-care that allows you to show up and take on any challenge that the day, the world, the month, the year is going to throw at you, because we don't have a crystal ball, right? We don't know what the future brings, but when you can stay grounded in your self-care and your communication, you're going to stay unstoppable.
Hi, this is Cherrie Morris, and I am a transformational mediator and parent coach. And I have a business called Dear Divorce Coach, as well as Recompose Us. Both businesses have websites, deardivorcecoach.com and recompose.us, but both are also brick and mortar businesses. So COVID certainly had an impact, and I had to learn to transform my model to a more fully online model, which was definitely a shift. The good news for me and for my business is one thing clients were always able to do as I help them resolve conflict in their lives, which is really what I do, is they could reach out to me always by text, by email, schedule calls. And now, instead of having in-person meetings in Chevy Chase or Gaithersburg, Maryland, where my offices are, I went fully remote. So what I noticed about that, interestingly, is especially when I'm coaching a couple, it can sometimes help to have them see each other but not be in the same room together. It helps sometimes de-escalate conflicts they have and better support themselves and their children. So I find that work very satisfying, and that that transference of business from in-person to remote has been in many ways good. I also work with clients really all over the world, so I've always worked with them remotely, and it really gave me a chance to see the difference in that and whether I was giving my remote clients the value I thought I was. And I think I have a resounding yes. So even though the pandemic has been terrible for many of us in many ways, I think for my business, it's had actually, if not a good impact, has given me some data points that I can use going forward. So I really think for all of us, as we continue with our hard work and the businesses that we're passionate about and that we love, is to look for opportunities to shift that actually bring not only overall value to our clients, but bring better service from us. And from my perspective, what I was able to do is now tell my clients who were never able to see me in person that the work I do can be impactful even when online. So I hope that's helpful. I love hearing from other people about how their businesses are doing, and love that Heike gave us this opportunity to do that for and with each other. I believe that a rising tide lifts all boats. So if we are out there helping and supporting each other, I think we're doing good for all. Again, this is Cherrie Morris, and you can find me at deardivorcecoach.com and Recompose, RECOMPOSE, us, US. And my mission that I'm passionate about is de-escalating conflicts for individuals, for couples, for family systems of all kinds. There's lots more about me online, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for the opportunity, Heike, and all of you, take good care, stay safe and well.
How do you stay healthy, fit, and connected to the world?
Well, there are two aspects of staying connected to the world. One is one's physical health, and the other is one's mental health. So I will talk about the physical side first. About 25 years ago now, I began to develop a nerve disease, which is called peripheral neuropathy. It's degenerative. It was not very noticeable until about 10 years ago, but it impairs one walking because one loses one's sense of balance. I've very slowly degenerated, which has been very hard for me because I love to walk. And I lived in Southern California where walking was such a pleasure, beautiful scenery, beautiful weather. However, by the time I got to Washington about 10 years ago, my walking had really deteriorated. So how to stay fit and healthy. I've also always done yoga and other kinds of exercises. My daughter at that time was going or had just gone to Heike because she had a neck injury. And she told me that Heike was particularly skilled at working with people who had some kind of physical problem. So I started going to Heike. It's probably about 8 years ago now, going to her studio in Bethesda. And I always loved and have loved working with her because me, with my physical disabilities, she always makes me feel like $1 million. She, being an Iron Man, is something that is just astounding to me. And yet she also makes me feel as if I'm doing really well, that I can do it. And that is a wonderful, wonderful attitude. And it's been a great joy to work with her. So imagine my concern when we all shut down and I couldn't go anymore. So Heike to the rescue, she introduced me to Zoom, which 3 months ago was a complete mystery to me. I had never heard of Zoom except zooming around, but certainly not zooming virtually around. So not only did she suggest that we could go on with this, she spent quite a bit of time showing me an elderly person with somewhat limited IT capabilities, the possibilities of downloading Zoom. So then we were ready to go. I created a little gym in my house, a chair, since I can't lie down on the floor. We have a chair and some weights and a band, which I keep beside me, and a ball. And so this little gym is always sitting there ready to go. The first time we did our Zoom session, it seemed so immediate and real to me, like in the real world. As soon as it was over, my first thought was, you've got to go and wash your hands because you've just been out to do your exercise. And right now we're in the middle of COVID and we're told that we have to wash our hands when we come home. So that was my first experience. I've got more used to the fact that I'm not really in the same room as Heike, but it still feels that way. And it's really the highlight of my week. In fact, I think I have probably been doing more exercise than before, partly because I have a little more time, and second, because I've somehow been inspired to do something every day, often something for my balance. Sadly, I have to use a walker now, so actually staying home and doing these things for me is much easier than were I to have to go out. How am I connected mentally to the world? Well, I'm on a lot of groups, and I'm also taking a course. After teaching for almost 30 years, it's wonderful to have somebody else teaching. And so I'm enjoying courses on American history, on subjects that I have never really thought about very much before. I mean, I have read American history, but I've been taking several courses on American history and on other subjects. Sadly, I have a house, a beautiful house in Block Island, Rhode Island, which my family deemed I should not travel to this summer. But thanks to Zoom, I have been participating in many of the activities out there, memoir writing group, our book group, and then we have a chat group. And my daughter, who is on Block Island, tells me that I probably see more of Block Island people than she does, because they are also pretty constrained in what they can do. I think you'll know what it's going to be from all I've been telling you. Keep exercising. We all have more time to exercise now, at least those of us who are privileged enough not to be going out to work. As I told you, I have a disability, but nevertheless, there's always something we can do, whatever our physical state is. And it's not very hard. If I can do it, you can do it. I would also advise a lot of mental engagement with the world, whatever way you can get it, but perhaps less mental engagement with the newspaper, because there isn't really very much we can do about our terrible world right now. But do engage if you feel there's something you could do to help. So stay positive and appreciate what you have. You have your health. Keep it that way and wear a mask.
Hi, I'm Heike Yates, fitness and nutrition coach, speaker, and private fitness studio owner. I empower women over 50 to take back their health and strength by designing simple and balanced fitness, nutrition, and mindset strategies. Actually, I'm the owner of 2 businesses. So I am the CEO of Hey Life Training Fitness and Wellness, which is my brick and mortar studio where I see clients in person, and then Pursue Your Spark for women over 50, a simply online program where I train and work with my clients online. And I'm also the host of the Pursue Your Spark podcast. Both of my businesses have been affected by COVID very differently, whereas Pursue Your Spark flourishes, Hey Life Training, not so much. I have been a trainer for 30 years, and out of those 30 years, 20 of those years, I've seen clients that I still see today. So they have been working with me for 20 years, seeing me every week or sometimes twice a week to train with me. And it is very difficult for them to transition to Zoom. I have offered Zoom for Hey Life Training for years, and a few people have taken me up on this on travel or when they moved away. But this mainstay in my brick and mortar has been always people come to me in person. But I have now created different programs to show that group that it's possible to train with me and get the same benefits as if they were here with me in person. And for Pursue Your Spark, the 4-week Lean Out program is flourishing. And I offer this program 3 times a year, and it's a group training program. In addition, I created customized individual signature training programs for women over 50. So that's how both of my businesses transitioned so far in the COVID times. Now, with that said, fewer clients means I have more time. And I've used that time to grow as a coach and speaker. I have refreshed my skills as a speaker to speak on big stages of the world, coaching on fitness nutrition for women over 50. I have created new programs and created finally the ideas that I had into reality for future programs that I cannot talk about it just yet on this episode to come this fall. So I am super excited that I was able to grow as a person and learn more and have more time for these things, but also more time for exercise. Yes, believe it or not, more time for exercise. Being a coach doesn't mean that you exercise with your clients, whether it's virtual or in person. You're a coach and you teach and you coach, but you don't do for the most part. So I've created what I call white space in my day. And that white space is what I want to do with that space. If I want to sit here and watch a movie in that white space, I can do that. If I choose to take pictures, I can do that. So I created my own self-care white space, and that translated into being more attentive to my type of exercises, doing a little bit more Pilates, slowing down with my high intensity workouts. So my advice for you guys is create white space in your life. Not everything is horrible. Stay away from the news because many things you can't change, but what you can change is what's immediately around you, meaning the choices that you make in your life that impact you and the people that are closest to you. Pick your white space. Start doing fun things in your white space. Look at the positive of life. You know I'm the eternal optimist. And I always say, yes, you can. You can find out more about my programs at heikeyates.com or connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, under heikeyates.com. I can't wait to meet you. I am so excited that I was able to share all these different views and strategies with you through my podcast guests. I hope that this episode inspired you to take action, to look for opportunities, to think outside the box, to take the next step, to become more resilient. And with that, my friends, I'll see you again September 4th for the next episode of the Pursue Your Spark podcast. Have an amazing, awesome, healthy, and wonderful August. Ciao.